Sports Betting is your home for picks, props, and futures for tonight's action. Bettor Sports Betting wants to know what picks you're playing tonight. Tell us in the live chat on YouTube, Twitter, and the Bettor Sports Network app. This is Bettor Sports Betting with Fantasy Alarm's Dan Servodidio.
What's going on, everyone? Welcome in here to the Bettor Sports Betting Show on Bettor Sports Network, Fantasy Alarm, YouTube's. Appreciate everyone jumping in here on a Friday. We got Football Friday. Howard Bender back in the saddle as my co-host today. What's up, Howard? How you doing?
Hanging in, man. This is a I'm just gonna preface this. I still have all my picks and props and everything like that. I'm telling you, this is a very, very tough week. This is a very, very tough week this week. I think it is you just look at the point spreads, you look at the game totals. I mean, it's really we're at a point. So I am, I'll bet everything that I give out, but I am not betting heavy this week at all.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, we talked about this on Wednesday's show, just how many tight spreads there are. We had the whole Survivor League discussion of which teams you want to pick in your Survivor pools if you're still alive. It's a lot of tough decisions, and especially on the betting side of things. A lot of tighter spreads. The sports books are now tightening up. A lot of data and information, all these teams out there now. So we got a good sense, or the sports books have a good sense of how to price these things. So yeah, we'll try to find some winners for you guys as always, though. We got plenty of player props to break down, game picks, touchdown predictions for week 7 Sunday games. We got people chiming in the chat already. Awesome to see. Britt Flynn is there. What's up, Britt? Thanks for jumping in. We got Smokey the Cat as always. Yeah, he had his parlay going yesterday. Everything but the touchdown, the Kamara touchdown, cashed for him in that parlay. But
and then they stuck it to you by having him get the 2-point conversion though too, right? Like it was like I thought I was thinking about you, Smokey. It's a tough one, man. Tough one.
I will say, neither me or James Grande gave out the Jaguars to win that game. We gave out some different picks, but did not give out the Jaguars prop. I gave out Rayshon Jenkins tackles prop. That hit because, he was involved plenty as I thought would come through. So that was a good cash there. Missed on Chris Olave's receiving yards. And if he caught that touchdown at the end there, it would have gone over his receiving yards, but did not get there. But we turn our attention to Sunday's games. And by the way, coming up a little bit later on the show, we do have 2 MLB postseason games tonight, ALCS and NLCS still going on. So we will give out some picks and some props for those 2 games today. But let's start with some football. And if you got your own picks, your own bets you want to throw in the chat, definitely throw them in there because you guys hit on these too. Not just us giving out these betting picks. We want to see what you guys have to say too.
Didn't I hit that Astros money line at plus 115?
You did hit the Astros money line, yeah.
Yeah.
And I hit Scherzer going on under his outs prop too. And yesterday I hit on Andrew Heaney's under on his outs prop. He only lasted about 2/3 of an inning. So yeah, it's been good, man.
We go.
We're hotter in baseball picks on this show than football lately. But either way,
speak for yourself there.
Well, I am speaking for myself because not to go, jinx tonight, but I think over the past 3-4 days, I think I'm undefeated on my baseball picks on this show. So just a good vibe going into today. But all right, let's talk some football here. Bunch of really good matchups, really good divisional matchups this weekend. I'll let you have the board first, wherever you want to go. Any games you want to touch on before we get to some player props?
All right. Yeah. I've got a couple of game picks here. I'm going to start off with the one that I probably feel the most comfortable with, and that is the Buffalo Bills minus 8.5. I know it was at minus. It was sitting at -9. Went down that half point. I am not scared of Belichick scheming. I am not scared of anybody on the Patriots offense. The Patriots defense is in absolute shambles. And I think that, people look at this spread, and the reason that money's coming in on the Patriots is because everybody's thinking, well, Belichick's going to scheme against them. And they didn't even come close to covering the spread against the Giants. I get that. And there are some weather issues here also. We're going to have to check on the weather as well. But I'm sorry. The Patriots do not have the personnel to keep pace with the Buffalo Bills. The Buffalo Bills can run and throw. The Patriots may be able to like run hard with Ramondre Stevenson. There's no passing attack on that game. So, I mean, I'm taking the Bills. I'm going -8.5, and I'm feeling very, very good about it. 100%.
Yeah, listen, we talked about this game on Wednesday's show, and our producer Aaron Bernard was leaning towards taking the Bills in his Survivor League, but it's the whole threat of could Bill Belichick just surprise everyone and pull this out? I think I'm on your side, though. I think taking the Bills and the points is the way to go in this game. I just have zero confidence in Mac Jones really keeping it
Mac
close.
Jones probably won't even make it. He won't even make it the entire game. I wonder what's the passing attempts prop for Mac Jones. I'm sure it's probably like 12.5.
I'll pull that up right now, see if it's out there. Passing attempts for Mac Jones, 30.5 over on DraftKings.
Get out of here. Take the under.
Well,
That's
I mean,
begging me for the under.
I mean, we know they're going to be trailing, so you don't think he's going to be passing?
We know they're going to be. Do you think Mac Jones makes it through the whole game on his own? Like we don't see some Malik Cunningham, or we don't see any kind of Bailey Zappi.
That's the hedge on this bet. Yeah,
Mac Jones hasn't finished a game in 3 weeks.
He's been gearing up for this game.
Oh, is that what it is? Okay, there you go.
You know what? He's due.
It's the best. That is the number one.
Belichick is due to pull out a win. How about that?
We've got it's a gut feel. Also, if you want to throw that out there, like analysis that I prefer is he's due to gut feel, and I feel it in my bones. Like there you go.
Revenge game is another one.
Well, only 60% of the time.
Oh man. All right. My first bet I'll go with here. I'm going to Sunday night. We got the big Dolphins-Eagles game. And I mentioned this on Wednesday's show when we were talking leans, and I like to lock it in here. I'm going with the under in this game, under 51.5. It was at 52, going down a little bit to 51.5, but I just think it's going to be a lot. I just think this total is a little inflated because it is, really two good, really good offenses, good teams. But I think the Eagles defense is going to be a really tough test for this Dolphins attack because they've yet to face a really good defense this season. Their opponents this year, the Bills, Giants, Patriots, Chargers, Broncos, and Panthers. The best defense in there is maybe the Patriots over the Bills. The Bills defense is very much below average this year, but these are easier matchups.
I mean, come on, let's talk about when they faced the Bills, the Bills had their whole secondary intact. When they faced the Bills, yeah, I mean, come on, Tre'Davious White being out, that's a huge, huge deal for the Bills. Jordan Poyer, another one there. That's
Matt Milano now too.
Out. They just lost, Mint Milano. He's another guy that Mint Milano. Pepperidge Farm, shout it out. Right. But so let's not cut Miami down too much here, saying that they didn't face anybody decent. I mean, they've definitely faced some,
I think the Eagles defense is a tier above all those teams.
Oh yeah, of course it is. But still.
So especially the Eagles run defense, arguably the best in the league. They're getting Jalen Carter. He's trended back healthy after he missed last week. So that's huge. Darius Slay also back for the Eagles. Missing their Reed Blankenship in the secondary, but also getting a couple other guys that missed last week back healthy. But either way, the Eagles' run defense is going to be the huge factor here because I see them limiting Mostert and the run game for the Dolphins, which has been really important for them to be as explosive as they've been, open up things downfield for Tyreek Hill and Waddle. I think Tua is going to get frustrated in this spot here on the road. And I think the Eagles defense is going to play a huge part. And the other side, I think the Eagles offense is going to really get back to the run game, which they went away from last week. Lane Johnson trending back healthy here from his ankle injury he suffered last week. And when he was out last week, they really went to the air a lot because they knew they didn't have as good of a run blocking there with Lane Johnson out. So I think that helps. I think they're just going to get back to really trying to grind out longer possessions to keep the ball away from, Tua and Tyreek. So I think this is going to be, a lower scoring game on Sunday Night Football. Going to be a really good game to watch overall, though.
I think these offenses are going to light it the hell
All right. Listen, that I understand that's a risk here because of how good these two offenses are.
These offenses are explosive. And while, yes, the Eagles defense is solid, I mean, you're talking about, your free safety is out. Bradley Roby is out. You've got some guys who are coming back who, may not be at 100%. It's Tyreek Hill. It's Jalen Waddle. I mean, these weapons, and listen, I don't love Durham Smythe or Trent Sherfield or, any of these other, cast of characters there. I just think this is a very complete team with a very strong, strong scheme. So I probably won't even bet. I won't bet this game. This is a game that I'll just sit and want to just enjoy on Sunday night and watch that. But yeah, I can't wholeheartedly say. I could say I'm rooting for you, Servo, but that would be me rooting against fun, and I'm not doing that.
Well, either way, I know this game will be good. But I'm just leaning on the under. Obviously, hoping the Eagles win it, but lean on the under. Britt Flynn chiming in on the chat here, by the way. Interesting movement for Darrell Henderson. Anytime touchdown odds with the Rams this week. Gone from plus 1,400 down to plus 190. Vegas knows something we don't. Yeah, well, I mean, listen, the hot name has been Zach Evans being, stepping into the lead back role, but I could see Henderson being used around the goal line, and he's been in this offense before, so I wouldn't be surprised if he gets into the end zone. That's very interesting movement in the touchdown odds there.
Well, yeah, I mean, the news broke earlier today, I think, that it was that Sean McVay said that Darrell Henderson will 100% be active for Week 7. Whether or not that's coach speak, I don't know, but yeah. That's why Vegas is reacting to it because, like you said, he knows the offense. Britt said it too. He knows the offense. He's played for them before. Maybe there's just not a whole lot of confidence in these Zach Evans kind of grotesqueness that they've got there. So.
I will say on that note, too, the Kyren Williams was like a touchdown machine with the Rams before he got hurt, yeah. And it's clear that they are looking to run the ball around near the goal line. And Williams was productive, in the terms of the touchdowns. Scored last week, I think, or the game before. I get them mixed up, but. He's been, I've bet on his touchdown prop too this year because he's come through because, that's just kind of what they like to do. So if Darrell Henderson's the guy instead of Evans, down near the goal line in the red zone because he's comfortable in this offense, not surprising at all if he finds the end zone.
It's going to be a tremendous DFS dart throw for DraftKings, I'm sure. I'm sure he's like min price. I haven't even looked at him.
He's got to be min price, yeah.
But now that I know about this, now that Britt hits us up with touchdown movement, that definitely piques my curiosity.
Yeah.
Oof. All right.
All right. What else you got going?
Give me the Arizona Cardinals plus 7.5 against the Seattle Seahawks. I kind of feel like if we get word that Kyler Murray is actually going to play, I think this line moves down. Right. So I'm kind of thinking that, I'm going to bet this now, which I've already done, at the 7.5. And you know what? Even if Kyler Murray doesn't play, I've got plenty of confidence in Josh Dobbs to run this offense. This is not a great Seattle offense. It's not the old Legion of Boom. They've got some shortcomings there in the, in the secondary. Their pass rush is, not anything great. And so, I just don't worry that much about Seattle. I think Arizona can make a game out of this, but I'm also kind of thinking about if Kyler Murray if they announce that he's playing, that this line's going to move. And if Vegas is going to move this line because of Kyler Murray, I want to make sure that I get it right now while I can.
So what's the latest with Murray? He's been practicing, right, this week. I kind of assumed he wasn't going to play, though. But you think there is a good chance he does?
I don't. Maybe I'm just drinking the John and Pemba Kool-Aid because he's been really eyeballing Kyler Murray a ton right now, and I don't know. Like, I know he's put in a couple of limited practices. They did activate him off of IR, so that opens up a 21-day window.
Yeah,
but this is the first week of that, so he would be eligible to play this weekend. I think Jonathan Gannon's going to kind of wait and see until like the last second on this and see what he can do. I'm not a Kyler Murray truther by any means, but I think his presence affects the line. I still think Josh Dobbs can cover a 7.5 point spread.
Okay. All right. I'll go another underdog here. Give me the Lions +3 in Baltimore here. Gonna be a really good game again. Baltimore and Detroit. I just, I see the Ravens coming off of a London game without a bye, which I think could create some, maybe a sluggish start from the Ravens. I just think overall the Lions are coming in here as, honestly, to me, in my eyes, a better overall complete team this year that we've seen. And I feel like if this game, the 3-point spread is kind of just giving 3 points to the Ravens because they're at home. But I think like on a neutral field, I feel like I would pick the Lions to win outright. And I feel like this should be kind of closer to a pick 'em. So I'm glad to take the points here with Detroit. Their offense, 3rd in total yards this year, 4th in points per game this season. The Ravens have a good rush defense, but their passing still kind of going through some growing pains with this switch to a new scheme with Todd Monken there. Have yet to score 30 points in a game this year, have the Ravens. The Lions have done it, I think, 3 different times now. And on the road, the Lions have not backed away from their road games this year. 3-0 straight up and against the spread on the road this season. They're 5-1 against the spread overall this year. The Lions also really good against the spread numbers ever since Dan Campbell has been the head coach there. They're just kind of being overrated or underrated in terms of the spread, and they're coming through surprising and continue to surprise. And I see the Ravens too. Just they're at home here, yes, but they have not taken care of their home field advantage recently. In the past 3 years, including this season, only 6 of their 19 home games have been wins of more than 3 points. 6 of 19. A lot of them have been, 2 or 1 point wins. Some of them have been outright losses, including earlier this year. They lost in that overtime game to the Colts. They're just not a dominant home team as you might think. And I think the Lions could come in here, make it a game because they're, I think, just more balanced on offense. Their defense is legit too. It's above average. And I know the Ravens defense has looked really good statistically. They're one of the best this year, but they also one of those teams that just have not faced the toughest competition yet and toughest quarterback play so far this season. I know Goff isn't, Tom Brady out there, but they've been, getting it done. Goff has really surprised me this year, coming back and doing it again like he showed at the end of last season. And the other thing is Lamar Jackson as a favorite in his in the past 3 years, 8-16 against the spread as a favorite. As an underdog, he's perfect, 6-0 against the spread, but as a favorite, he does not cover as much as you might think. So a lot of these trends, just the matchup overall, point me to Detroit as the underdogs here.
I'll just kind of add to that, all of that wonderful data that you've presented us with and say this is one of those games on the Eastern Seaboard also where they're talking about 15 to 20 mile an hour sustained winds with 30 mile an hour gusts.
Yeah.
So if it is going to be super windy, you're probably going to want to keep the ball on the ground a little bit more. That tends to chew up the clock, and that tends to keep the games close. And, when you're talking about a 3-point spread against the Baltimore Ravens, I always want to be on the side that has Justin Tucker. But in this case here, if there are going to be 30 mile an hour sustained gusts of wind, perhaps I just want to be on the side of, the team getting the points, that being the Detroit Lions.
Okay. Yeah. I don't think Justin Tucker's kicking a 60-yarder this week with those wins.
No, I don't think he is.
Unless they're to his back, but
I don't think he's kicking a 6-yarder. Last game bet for me, Chiefs Chargers. I'm just taking the over 48. I know we always like to, bet what we want to see as opposed to betting what we're actually going to see. I've said that a million times, but this is a game that I feel like we all know Justin Herbert likes to get up for these games against the Chiefs. This is, traditionally a very strong battle back and forth. I love the Chargers offense. I love the Chargers offense. I think Kellen Moore's doing great things for it. Keenan Allen, Josh Palmer. You've got Austin Eckler back. And on the other side here, you've got, it's Pat Mahomes. It's Pat Mahomes with Travis Kelce Swift. And, they just brought back Mecole Hardman to add to Rashee Rice and Kadarius Toney. So they've got all these like interchangeable cogs that can kind of maneuver around. It adds to the speed with which they have. And the Chargers defense is terrible. So, Chiefs Chargers over 48. I'm perfectly fine with that. I know it's I think it started at like 50 or 49 and it went down, but I'm still good for this one here.
Yeah, I'd be scared of the Chiefs offense too against this Chargers defense. But I'm going. I'll stick with this game. One of my picks is the Chargers to cover here. As you were saying earlier, the Chargers and Herbert, especially since he's been there, they get up for this. They're here to compete and make Kansas City work for it. And over the years, over the past few years that Herbert's been there, 5-1 against the spread against Mahomes when these two teams play each other over the past 3 years. And over the past 4 years since Brandon Staley's been there, the Chargers have been in the games at the end, all 4 games since he's been there, since him and Herbert over the past 2 years have been decided by less than 1 score. It's been a 1-score game in the fourth quarter. And I mentioned 5-1 against the spread. Hasn't always won the games outright for the Chargers, but they do keep it close. And in Herbert's career, when he's an underdog of 5 points or more, which we have here with the 5.5-point spread, he's a perfect 7-0 against the spread. Again, the Chargers, we've seen them numerous times blow games late and really cost them straight up wins. But Herbert has been keeping these games close when he's an underdog, and especially against the Chiefs. And yeah, I'm really high on the Chiefs offense now with Eckler back. It's huge for this offense with Mike Williams being out now. And I just feel like they're going to start getting in a groove now with Eckler and Keenan Allen being those 1-2 punch for Herbert in that offense. So yeah, give me the Chiefs or give me the Chargers to keep this one close. Not going to bet on their money line or anything, but I do think it's going to be a nice, I do think on your side, it's going to be a higher scoring game too. But yeah, I like getting the underdog here.
Beautiful. All right. Listen, I hope you win. I don't care who wins. I just want to see a lot of points scored in this one, please.
Well, Britt Flynn cares who wins because she's saying in the chat here, it was one of my bold predictions today that Chargers beat the Chiefs this weekend. Oh, I'll take that as taking the points with the Chargers. But yeah, they could beat them outright. I wouldn't be surprised about that. Britt all over it this week. Love it. All right, let's talk some player props. And again, coming up this weekend, obviously over on Fantasy Alarm, we have, DFS playbook for week 7. We got all the, wide receiver cornerback matchup report, the red zone report, Howard's best bets article will be coming out soon. You can get all this with the All Pro subscription over at Fantasy Alarm. Get all that stuff, NBA, NHL, DFS, going to be in full swing soon enough. So you want to get on this before all that. College football DFS that I have out there, the playbook for this weekend. You can get that. But yeah, get the All Pro subscription. Promo code LOCK. You can scan that QR code right there. FantasyAlarm.com/lock to go get the All Pro subscription before this weekend's games.
Yeah, this is a ridiculous deal. I mean, I'm not gonna just overwhelm it with like corporate shill attitude here, but the way this is at fantasyalarm.com/lock, promo code lock, the QR code BAM right here. The annual subscription, it gives you everything, full access to everything over at Fantasy Alarm. So, like Servo said, all the sports are included, right? I mean, our MMA DFS guy has taken down 4 GPPs in the last 5 weeks. Servo and Pete Cole destroy it with college football, and college basketball is coming up, and they're going to own that too. All the NBA, all that, the best bets and everything like that come up there, everything that you've got. And if you're a fantasy player, boom, your fantasy baseball draft guide, NFL draft guide, they're all included in this whole thing, and it takes you to week number 7 of next season. So, it's $187 and change up front. But like the ad here says, it breaks it down to $16 a month is what you're spending. You're usually buying it for $40 a month. So, I mean, it's an insane deal. I highly recommend it, obviously, because I'm here at Fantasy Alarm, but I speak on behalf of my team that everybody's like super enthused about what we got going on. And everybody's crushing it in content right now. So make it happen there. That's my spiel.
Love it. Love the spiel.
You want player prop? You want player prop now, so we can kind of get back on track here.
Yeah. What do you got?
Let me give you here's one that nobody likes but me, but that's okay. Jerome Ford, Cleveland Browns, over 55.5 rushing yards. It's -110 on DK. Doesn't matter if it's PJ Walker under center or if it's Deshaun Watson coming back because he's rumored to have been to be able to go this week. Everybody looks at the Colts defense and they talk about the secondary. The cover corners aren't good, but their front seven is not what it used to be. Their run defense has been slacking in a big way. They're giving up over 120 rushing yards per game. They've given up 9 rushing touchdowns. So that front seven, because, there's no more Bobby Okereke and there's, DeForest Buckner's not that great. And they just had a defensive lineman suspended for PEDS use now. So there's not a lot going on there on the ground. The Browns know that they need to lead with the run. They know that they need to establish the run because that's what's going to open things up further downfield and make it easier on either PJ Walker or Deshaun Watson, either way. So I think they lead in here with Jerome Ford. This was the week when Nick Chubb got hurt. This was the week I said where Jerome Ford is going to start paying off, and it's over 55.5 rushing yards for me here, -110.
I like this one a lot. Yeah. We got Britt Flynn thrown in the chat here that Grover Stewart being suspended is huge. Yeah. I mean, listen, you lose like one of your run stuffing D tackles. It is definitely a huge loss. So I got no arguments against this pick. All right. Give me DK Metcalf over 56.5 receiving yards. Going against the Cardinals, which I'm always find targeting against this Cardinals defense this year, and they've struggled against some top tier wide receivers recently. Their past 3 games, top wide receivers against the Cardinals: Brandon Ayuk 148 receiving yards, Jamar Chase 192, Cooper Kupp 148. I think Metcalf is going to follow suit here. I know it's him and Lockett, seeing a lot of the targets from Geno Smith in this offense. And I know Metcalf he's got a hip injury that has him questionable, but I think he's going to play this week. It's been reported that he will play through that injury. And the overall production for Metcalf has not honestly been there every game this year. He's only gone over this prop, 56.5 receiving yards in 3 of 5 games this season. But I just think this matchup against the Cardinals is going to allow him to go for 70, 80, 90 yards. I think he's going to have a big game here. And I was on this prop before JB Berry's wide receiver cornerback matchup report came out over on Fantasy Alarm. If you haven't checked that out at this point in the season, every week he kills it, breaking down every single wide receiver matchup against cornerbacks on the opposite side, who to target for DFS, season long, whatever. And his cover picture and the title of the article is calling for a DK Metcalf breakout game here against the Cardinals. And in his little blurb about Metcalf, Says he's going up against Marco Wilson, who's graded 101 out of the 112 quarterbacks graded on Pro Football Focus, allowing nearly a 80% catch rate and 466 receiving yards in his coverage. So if we see Metcalf against Wilson in this spot here, I think he's going over this prop easy.
All right, nice. I mean, listen, I'm a big DK Metcalf fan. I know he hasn't practiced late here in the week, so hopefully he's on the field and everything's good to go. It's such a great matchup against Arizona. I won't argue against that one at all. All right, my next one here, we're going to the old tackle monster, as Andrew Cooper at Fantasy Alarm calls it, Tremaine Edmonds. Over 8.5 tackles plus assists. I'm getting this is plus 114 at DK. Now he's only gone over this number. He's only hit the over here twice this season. Once against Tampa Bay and once against Washington. What do those two teams have in common? Run first. That's what you're looking at here with Chicago going up against the Las Vegas Raiders. You're going to see a lot of Josh Jacobs. And so I think you're going to, Tremaine Edmonds is going to be very heavily involved. In 3 of the games where he didn't make this, hit the over, he was at 8. So I look at this one here and I say, establish the run with Josh Jacobs, likely to happen. He's going to try and plow it, up the gut here against the Chicago Bears, whose run defense has not been great. And I think Tremaine Edmonds is the guy who's going to start making a ton of stops. So I love this at plus money as well.
Yeah, and we got no Jimmy G for the Raiders playing this week. So we'll see if it's Hoyer or Aiden O'Connell. But either way, I feel like the Raiders offense is going to try to lean on the run here, which just lead to a lot more tackle opportunities for Edmonds in that middle. So, yeah, I'm on board with that one. I'll stick in this game because I got a pick on the Raiders side of things for their offense. I like Michael Mayer over 20.5 receiving yards in this game. And I agree. I'm a little wary about the quarterback situation and if, the Raiders are going with a run heavy offense here, but I think the quarterback situation helps Mayer as a tight end in this spot. Probably seeing some more targets and looking for easier completions from whether it's Hoyer or Aiden O'Connell under center for the Raiders. And Mayer, he's starting to get some more work here. If you've paid attention in the fantasy space or anything else, you've realized that Michael Mayer is starting to get more playing time, more snaps, more targets than Austin Hooper in this Raiders offense. Last week, he played 81% of the snaps compared to Hooper's 34%. Trending up from the week before, 66% for Mayer in the snap share. And last week, that increased snap share led to more targets. He had 6 targets, 5 receptions for 75 yards in that game. Also had 39 receptions, receiving yards in the game before. So he's continuing to trend up in recent games. And I see the Bears defense, you mentioned the shaky Bears defense, specifically against tight ends. They've allowed, in 6 of their games so far, they've allowed 5 tight ends to go for 40-plus receiving yards, and 3 of those for 50-plus receiving yards. So I like Mayer here now that he's starting to get more playing time, more targets over Austin Hooper in this offense to go over his receiving yards here.
Yeah, listen, I just added Michael Mayer into my New York Post fantasy article. I was talking about rookie tight ends. Oh, rookie tight ends, they never work out, do they? Sam Laporta. And I like Michael Mayer. I like Luke Musgrave this weekend as well. Him going up against Denver. Speaking of Luke Musgrave and the Green Bay Packers, Aaron Jones over 75.5 rushing and receiving yards. Now I just saw that he's listed as questionable. He has put in limited practices this week, but he's been practicing all week. I'm very curious. I'm going to keep monitoring this one as well. You might want to this line is not going to change. I mean, it's minus 115 right now to go over. The closer we get into the game, I don't think this line is moving at all. So just kind of keep an eye on it. The last time, Aaron Jones came back, they did limit his snaps. Now that was him coming back from injury. This is him coming back from injury and having that bye week as well. So I do like him a lot for this. Over 75.5 rushing plus receiving. I'm going to look to bet this. I'm going to look to bet it on Sunday when or even Saturday night when I just get full word on what we can expect out of Aaron Jones.
Yeah, I mean, he's been practicing. I think the reports have been positive more than anything that he could play this week. So I know like AJ Dillon has, he had a big game before the bye when Jones was out. So like I still feel like maybe they used Dillon in the running game, but I think with this prop, we're getting the rushing plus receiving yards. I think Jones has a greater chance of going over this than just his rushing yards prop. So I like getting the added receiving yards in there too. All right, one of my picks, player prop I'm going with, I'll go to DeAndre Swift here. Over 13.5 rush attempts for him in this game against Miami. Mentioned, when we were breaking down that game that I like the under, and I think the Eagles offense is going to try to lean on the run game more, which they've got away from last week in the loss to the Jets. I think they want to get back to it. And really grind out longer possessions, feed Swift as the lead back. Last week, Swift only had 10 carries, but before that, in the previous 4 games, he had 17, 14, 16, and 28 carries. Went over this prop in all 4 games. I think he's going to get back to that, getting about, over 15 or more carries in this spot. Opposing running backs too, opposing offenses have been trying to lean on the run against the Dolphins, trying to keep the ball out of their, out of the offense's hands, grind out these longer possessions. I feel like the Eagles are going to do it. 3 of 6 opposing running backs, lead running backs against the Dolphins this year have gone over this rush attempts prop. And the 3 unders, I think, require a little bit of context. So one of them was the Giants without Saquon. And Eric Gray still had 12 carries in that game. The Giants were trailing, throwing a lot in that game while trailing the Dolphins. Another one was against Buffalo. James Cook had 12 carries in that, but it was also a 28-point win where they used a lot of Damian Harris, Latavius Murray too later in the game, kind of took Cook out at times. So kind of looking a little bit past that. I know Cook, he still had 12 carries. And then the other one was the Broncos, that blowout win over the Broncos where, again, the Broncos were throwing a lot more while trailing. Javonte Williams still had 11 carries in the game. So, but I think this game, especially if the Eagles are playing with a lead, I think they're going to lean on the run a lot more. So, yeah, give me DeAndre Swift's over on his rush attempts here.
I think I took the over on his receptions, actually. I think it was 3 receptions over at rtsports.com for their pick'em contest. So I feel pretty good about that. I do.
You hit on that last week or the week before, I think, with Swift.
DeAndre Swift over 2 receptions. Yeah, he had like 6 catches in that game against the Jets. So the other tackle prop that I'm just waiting on is Terrell Bernard for Buffalo. Middle linebacker for the Bills. I think that, especially if this game is going to have some weather issues, I think Belichick, they just pulled Ramondre Stevenson off the injury list. I think Belichick's just going to try and run it on them nonstop and try and take the ball out of the hands of Mac Jones as much as possible here. So there's no prop posted yet for Terrell Bernard, but kind of keep an eye on it there. I would say if it's like, if it's sitting at like 7.5 or 8.5, I would take the over.
Okay. So, yeah, keep an eye on that. I just looked. It's still not posted over on DraftKings. Yeah. But definitely, I feel like we should get that tomorrow, or if it's pregame Sunday, keep an eye out for that one. All right, my last prop here before we get to some touchdown calls. Brian Robinson Jr. over 61.5 rushing yards. This is just any opposing running back against the Giants defense. I'm instantly looking at their rushing yards prop. I've hit on it multiple times this year, and it just continues to cash. So until it stops cashing, I'm going back to it. Giants defense allowing the second most rushing yards per game this year. 147.5 is the number there. And every opposing lead running back against the Giants this year have had 70 or more rushing yards. So I see this at 61.5. I know Robinson, he's only gone over this in 2 of 6 games this year. So that's probably why this is a little bit low, but he's still getting the majority of carries in this backfield for Washington over Antonio Gibson. When they are looking to run the ball, it's Robinson getting those touches. And I see him. He went over this again in 2 of 6 games, but 87 against Denver and their bad rush defense, 70 against Buffalo. Also had 59 against the Arizona defense a little bit earlier this year, back in week 1 or week 2. But yeah, I see this at 61.5, and I like getting the over because of how bad this Giants rush defense is. And Britt Flynn throwing in that this is another one of those games. Going to be a windy atmosphere there. 35-mile-per-hour wind gusts. Going to be ground and pound. I think the Washington offense is going to lean on the run on the road in this divisional matchup too. So, yeah.
Cool. I'm in.
All right. By the way, for tonight, we got a little hockey bettercast going on. So download the free BetterCast app. Go see Moose and Keith's game preview for tonight's NHL matchup between the New Jersey Devils and New York Islanders. You can answer pregame questions, which are now live in the BetterCast app. Then answer some live in-game questions after the puck drops to win some cool collectibles, authentic sports merchandise. No purchase or subscription necessary. It's always free to play. You can download the BetterCast app in the Apple app or Google Play stores. Must be at least 18 years old. Go download it in the Apple app or scan that QR code right there. Our producer, Adam Bernard, hockey guy, he throws in a little bit of a suggestion for this Devils-Islanders game that no bet for him on this game. But if you want to scratch that itch on hockey tonight, he would take the Devils money line at -110. So you can put that bet in and go watch and tune in on the BetterCast app as well. All right, let's talk some touchdown predictions for Sunday's Week 7 games. Where are you going with some of your touchdown calls? Got a little intro for this. I keep forgetting about the intro. It's an awesome intro. So, yeah, let's get that. Touchdown. Woo!
It is awesome. No doubt.
All right, who you got going into the end zone here?
I've got 2. One I'm obviously gonna keep looking at here, but Aaron Jones getting into that end zone there at +105. I think if he's on the field and playing, I think he gets in. The other one for me though is Marquise Hollywood Brown +195 on DraftKings for him to get into the end zone. Again, I think that there's a little bit of a back and forth to this game, and I think Brown finds the end zone for me here. So Marquise Brown, Aaron Jones, I'm betting them both.
All right. I'm going with Cooper Kupp, +110 on DraftKings, and it's -225 on BetMGM for Cooper Kupp to score an anytime touchdown. I see that as a huge difference. Maybe this changes, but +110 on DraftKings. We talked about earlier how, with all the running back injuries for the Rams, Darrell Henderson's touchdown prop has been shortened a little bit. But I do think around near the goal line, with all these injuries, maybe they're looking to use Cooper Kupp on some of like the quick completions. He can easily get open if they're down near the goal line or in the red zone to get in the end zone. He's been really good since returning from injury these past 2 games, scored last week. So I think he's getting in the end zone this weekend.
Beautiful. I hope he does. Hello, Cooper Kupp.
Cooper Cup of coffee. All right. How about some baseball here? And hold on. I got to,
there you go.
I've been keeping it subtle, but we lost a game last night, so I got to get back in the good vibes here with the Phillies. We got ALCS Game 5 and NLCS Game 4 tonight. We saw the Astros win again yesterday to force this Game 5 here, tie up the series. Let's start with that game because we do have that one coming up in just about 15 or 20 minutes here, first pitch. So who you got for this one?
Quick and dirty, man. Give me the Texas Rangers on the money line. I'm just, it's -115. I was in on the Rangers, coming into this series. I was in on the Rangers coming into the playoffs. We've seen some good performances from their pitching. Jordan Montgomery on the mound again today. You obviously don't love, putting all your faith into Jordan Montgomery, but listen, I'm sticking with it. I'm staying on brand with the Texas Rangers at -115. And then and I'm going to parlay it, and rather than just bet it straight up here, I'm just going to parlay it with the Phillies money line at minus 135. So I think those two teams make it all happen there for you, Servo.
Thank you for picking the Phillies money line today. There's, I
minus
feel like
135. It's a real, it's a real reach for it.
It's just good vibes going into this game.
That's why I'm parlaying it, because it's minus 135. So I might as well just parlay it with the Texas Rangers winning their game too.
Yeah, I get that. All right, well, on the Rangers side of things, I agree with you. I think I have the Rangers winning tonight too. But my pick here, I'm going with Jordan Montgomery over 15.5 outs. Rangers used up a ton of relievers over these past 2 days. Scherzer only went 4 innings, and then Andrew Heaney didn't even get out of the first inning last night. So I think they're going to look to Montgomery to really give them a strong 6 innings or more if he can tonight. He went 6 1/3 scoreless against the Astros earlier this series. So I like that he has that, proven success and proven length in this matchup. And the 15.5 outs is very low because he went over this in 10 of his 11 starts with the Rangers since the trade deadline to end the regular season. Over this too in 19 of his last 21 regular season starts, spanning time with the Cardinals. And now he's been over it in 2 of 3 postseason starts. So, yeah, give me Montgomery to really give the Rangers a good start here to get back on track. And then for the Phillies Diamondbacks game, I'm just going with a pick that's been cashing basically on a nightly basis, and it's Bryce Harper over a half a walk. With how hot he's been hitting, the Diamondbacks have made it clear that they don't want to pitch to him. They want to, if he can get himself out, whether it's, grounding into a double play or striking out, they'll go for that. But otherwise, if you look at his at-bats, they're giving him barely anything in the zone. They're trying to make him chase, trying to make him roll over. But when he's been patient, he's drawn these walks. And he's now walked at least once in 7 of the last 8 postseason games now, including twice last night, once in each game in this NLCS. And I haven't seen, let me just look real quick. The Phillies, I doubt, are going to switch up their batting order. But I've said this the past few shows, if you've seen. Yep. Okay, so Alec Boehm is still hitting cleanup behind Bryce Harper, and Alec Boehm is struggling at the plate. He is not hitting much right now. So they've opted to just kind of pitch around, intentionally walk Bryce Harper and let Boehm beat them, and he hasn't. So I think that continues tonight.
Cool. Right on, baby. I hope you get everything you want. Everything.
Oh, thank you. All right, that's about it for us. We're going to wrap up here. Thanks for everyone jumping in the chat and tuning in today. Good luck with all your own picks. Tomorrow, by the way, on Bettor Sports Network and Fantasy Alarm, we got the Campus to Canton show at 10 a.m. Eastern with a complete college football Week 8 preview and breakdown for all of Saturday's games. So tune into that. And again, tonight on the BettorCast app, 8:15 p.m. Eastern, we got Devils Islanders on the BettorCast. So jump in there, download the BettorCast app as well. All right, good luck with all of our picks tonight, Howard. Hope you're cashing on some of these. I'm rooting for the Phillies money line to come through, so hopefully it works.
I hope so too.
Peace. All right, we'll see you guys Monday.
Bettor Sports Betting on the